Well, for some reason, it's a very divisive topic at times, but I did want to read what Kirk Herbstreit had to say about Stetson Bennett. And this was before the national championship. I was rewatching the Michigan Georgia game last night. I have still not watched uh, either the national championship game or the Orange Bowl all the way through. I mean, I lived them live, obviously, and I've seen some of the highlights, but I've not watched them. Just sat down and watched them. Last night, I watched the most of the Michigan game that I've seen. And Kirk at one point said uh, about Stetson Bennett, his teammates believe in him and he believes in himself. And we all only know what we're thinking, like the individual person is thinking. There was a lot of negative body language. There was a lot of negativity in general at the Southeastern Conference Championship game against Alabama in December. And that seems to have floated away from the Michigan game on. Obviously, they won both those games, but there were some really perilous times in the second Alabama game. Having belief or knowledge in your that you can do something is a very powerful tool in an arsenal. Now, overconfidence is a real problem. I can assure you of that. But um, having a belief that you can get something done, that's something that's very powerful. And, when you start thinking about what Kyrus Jackson said in the past, definitely Nolan Smith, there are a lot of guys that are in Georgia's program that before Stetson and Georgia won the national championship, before things got dicey in the first Alabama game, they had his back. They were very comfortable with Stetson being the quarterback. I was reading something that I wrote from what we were hearing head in the 21 spring, asking the question who would be the backup quarterback heading into 21. And of course, it was clear. I mean, Kirby said it that JT Daniels was the starter heading into that season. The question, I think, became who was going to be the backup. Would it be Carson Beck or Stetson Bennett? And I was trying to tell people, and I think they listened to some degree, at least the insiders over at Dog Post did, that they're going to go with Stetson as the backup, generally speaking. Now, what happened was that in the spring of 21, Carson Beck had a really good spring. And by the time it came time to play against UAB, Stetson had caught up to him and had got wiggled in front of him somehow. And he never looked back after that. I mean, the performance against UAB was good, but that really solidified that Stetson would be the backup. And of course, JT Daniels never got over his injuries, and that was a real problem for Georgia. And by the time JT did, Kirby has revealed Stetson had already won the job. So it just goes to show that there are no permanent starters anywhere at Georgia. There's probably not permanent backups, frankly. And whatever will fit at that moment is what they're going to do at Georgia. And um, there's something to be said for that, for sure. I think at quarterback is the one position where you'd be a little hesitant to do that. But the results speak for themselves. I mean, had Georgia not won the national championship, Kirby Smart would be eating, all sorts of shit the whole offseason. The narrative would be totally different coming into 21. If people would have said you lost your chance to win, but they didn't. They won, and they won. I mean, honestly, you have to give credit where credit's due. And then Stetson had a lot to do with them winning the national championship. And people who just will not let it go, um, I don't know what to tell you or help you with. Let me make sure y'all know about this. Pick up DAWGSTRUCTION today, and you will get our 2022 preview. People are starting to buy this again, so I'm going to run out of these 2022 previews soon. So the value for this deal is right now. Pick it up today. The season is right around the corner. You're going to want to get both of these before I run out of the 2022 preview. The links are down below. I would not have started Stetson Bennett in 21 at the beginning of the season. Um, but I too felt like there was a moment where it was Stetson was playing too well and the team was playing too well to turn back, and that was at least the Tennessee game. I mean, the Florida game he did not play well. Um, the Alabama game, I guess he didn't play well the first Alabama game, but um, no other game that he started and played in, Stetson played poorly. I don't think you can say he played poorly in 21. I think he did against Florida. He just did not play well that night or that day, whatever it was. In 20, you could say that a couple times. I mean, he did not play well against Kentucky. The performance against Alabama was not good enough. It just so, but he got better as the season went on, and what he did, I think, what he did at Tennessee, that run against the Vols, the play to James Cook before the half, taking the team down the field. Um, it was a risky position that Kirby was in, one way or the other. But with what Kirk Herbstreit had to say, how he has his teammates have, faith in him. They believe he can do it. Um, that was always there with Stetson, and I don't know if there was ever like a thing in the locker room. It didn't seem like it to me. JT was always ready. He was around. He was prepared. It certainly seemed like. But when Georgia did not go to JT Daniels down 14 in the SEC championship game, that's all you needed to know. They knew who the quarterback was going to be. They were not changing it, and that's all there is to it. Now we had a month of build up to what was the second most important game that Georgia had played in Kirby's time, which was the Orange Bowl, and there was plenty of discussion about that, but that ended just after Christmas when Todd Monken basically shut it down. And we only talked to Todd, I think, once or twice. I think twice last season. I don't know why Kirby does it that way, but whatever. It's his show. And so we got to talk to Todd Monken during that time, and he was more forceful than Kirby had been the entire year and said, hey, this guy's our guy. There's a reason why he's our guy. We think he gives us the best chance to win. It's that simple. It was like 3 sentences or something like that. But moving forward into 21, there is no JT Daniels. There is no sort of microwave that you can bring off the bench. A lot of people really do like Carson Beck. That's I'm just telling you that right now. That a lot of people really do like what he has the ability to do. People I trust like Carson Beck. I'll put it to you that way. So, but what Carson has done over the last 18 months, I don't know. We were not able to see a single practice a year ago. We thought we were going to with the Orange Bowl, but COVID was still around, and Kirby didn't want people to see practices either. So he made certain that did not occur. But again, it's his program; he can do what he wants to do. So we don't really know. We only know what we saw during the games and at G Day. But there's plenty of optimism about uh, Carson Beck. I do think that Brock Vandegrift came in and he was rawer than these guys, and his athleticism is not insignificant. I mean, he definitely is the real deal athletically. But it seems to me like Carson is the backup. Now, why does any of that matter? Why does, are people going to get are they going to say, well, um, Carson should be starting, or, we could still have JT Daniels. You still would not have JT Daniels if Georgia won the national championship. He'd be gone. He's playing another year of football because he can't stay healthy. He's at his third school in he's at his third school in 4 years. I mean, it's go time for JT for sure. When he's healthy, he is exceptional. Um, but there is no position that's safe at Georgia, and this past season proves that. I mean, think about I think it was the 18 Florida game. Jordan Davis had hardly played at all, and he came on and he played a fair amount in that game, and from that point forward, he played a lot. Uh, JT Daniels didn't play at all. Stetson Bennett didn't play at all. And then he was a starter. Then JT Daniels hadn't played at all. Then he was a starter. And then they went back to, I mean, there are no rules here. Whatever is working in that moment is what they're going to do. Now, Is that too tricky? If it doesn't work, then that people are going to criticize Kirby, but that's what the money's for. I mean, that he's gotten paid, he's won the national championship, he has a certain amount of clout. Dabo Swinney's won 2 national championships. I can assure you that if their offense does not get going at Clemson, you will hear all sorts of second guessing of Dabo Swinney. Just because you win doesn't mean there's not second guessing. People were thinking Bryce Young was going to be beat out Mac Jones, and there were plenty of people that felt like Bryce Young should have started in 2020 that were under the radar, bubbling in the surface. That's always going to be there. That never changes. It's just what it is. And um, to me, of course, we have not seen them practice. We've not seen them do anything since the national since G Day. But it would be hard to replace the person that won a national championship for you as the starting quarterback unless that person was injured. And I think that the other thing about Stetson Bennett, folks don't seem to get is that they are looking at him and they think, well, this guy's real small. He was a walk on. He's not, whatever. Stetson Bennett thinks he's Superman. Okay, that's what people don't get. Now that's dangerous at times. That was dangerous against Alabama on the road in 20. But Stetson Bennett thinks he's Superman. I want to make that clear to everybody. He thinks he's a star. You can see it. That's the difference. So the guys in the locker room know that. The fans and the broadcasters, they might not feel that as much. They might not feel that. The team does. That is awesome to have that sort of confidence. If he plays in a controlled, non-hero ball way, Stetson Bennett is the best quarterback on this roster. If he starts playing hero ball, which he did not do in 21, I mean, it was not a feature of Stetson Bennett mode. But if he does that, that's a problem. Quarterbacks can't do that. You cannot be a hero. You have to play that position, and that's it. If he does that, he's their best chance.